Yo, what's up everybody? We all love a good tech success story, right? The underdog startup makes it big, a revolutionary product changes the game. It's inspiring. But the truth is, the tech world is also littered with epic fails, moments so cringeworthy that companies wish they could erase them from history. What could possibly go wrong? Today, we dive into the top 10 tech shame fails in history that big companies want you to forget. Get ready for some serious tech shade. Alright, let's kick things off with a classic, the Microsoft Zune. Picture this, it's 2006, the iPod is king, and Microsoft, not one to be left behind, decides to step into the ring with their own music player. They poured millions into development, hyped it up as the iPod killer. The Zune even had some cool features like wireless syncing and sharing. But there was one major problem. It was still playing catch-up to the iPod, which already had a massive head start. The iPod had the design, the ecosystem, and most importantly, the Apple faithful on its side. The Zune? Well, it just couldn't compete. It felt clunky, the software wasn't as intuitive, and it lacked the App Store that made the iPod so versatile. Microsoft eventually pulled the plug on the Zune in 2012, a stark reminder that even tech giants can stumble. It's a classic example of what happens when you try to beat a titan at its own game, without bringing something truly revolutionary to the table. Even tech giants like Apple have their off days, and the launch of Apple Maps in 2012 was a disaster of epic proportions. I mean, we're talking about a mapping app that literally sent people to the wrong locations. Bridges disappeared into thin air, landmarks ended up in lakes, and directions were about as reliable as a weather forecast in a hurricane. The internet, being the internet, had a field day. Memes exploded, rivals like Google took jabs, and Apple's reputation took a serious hit. The backlash was so severe that Apple CEO Tim Cook had to issue a public apology. They even went as far as recommending other mapping services, which is like a chef telling you to eat at their competitor's restaurant. To Apple's credit, they've made significant improvements to Maps since then, but the initial launch remains a cautionary tale about the importance of thorough testing, especially when you're messing with something as crucial as navigation. Remember Google Glass? The futuristic headset that promised to bring augmented reality to the masses? It felt like something straight out of a sci-fi movie. You could take pictures, record videos, get directions, all with a simple voice command. On paper, it was the future. But in reality, Google Glass faced some serious hurdles. For starters, there was the price tag, a hefty $1,500 put it out of reach for most people. Then there were the privacy concerns. I mean, who wants to be around someone wearing a device that's constantly recording? It felt intrusive, even dystopian. But perhaps the biggest challenge Google Glass faced was the social stigma. People who wore it were dubbed glassholes. It became a symbol of tech elitism and a lack of social awareness. Google eventually discontinued the consumer version of Glass in 2015, proving that even the coolest tech can fail if it doesn't resonate with the public or address real-world concerns. Chapter 4, Samsung Galaxy, Note 7 a literal explosive situation. Okay, this one's a bit more serious. The Samsung Galaxy. Note 7 was supposed to be a flagship phone, a powerhouse device that would rival the iPhone. It had a sleek design, top-of-the-line specs, and a fancy stylus. But there was one tiny problem, or should I say, explosive problem. The batteries had a tendency to, well, catch fire. And not just a little bit of smoke, we're talking full-on infernos. Reports of Note 7's bursting into flames started surfacing shortly after its release, leading to a global recall. Samsung tried to fix the issue, but the replacement phones also had battery problems. It was a PR nightmare for Samsung. Airlines banned the Note 7 from flights, and the phone became the butt of jokes worldwide. The whole debacle cost Samsung billions of dollars in recalls, lawsuits, and lost sales. It was a harsh lesson in the importance of quality control and the potential consequences of rushing a product to market. Chapter 5, Juicero squeezing out more than just juice. The Juicero, oh the Juicero. This is a prime example of Silicon Valley over-engineering at its finest. Imagine spending $400 on a Wi-Fi connected juicer that uses proprietary juice packs to make, well, juice. Sounds ridiculous, right? That's because it was. The Juicero promised a revolutionary juicing experience, but it was essentially a glorified press. It turns out you could get the same results by squeezing the juice packs with your bare hands. And that's exactly what people started doing when a Bloomberg article exposed the absurdity of it all. The internet had a field day mocking the Juicero, and it quickly became a symbol of tech excess and venture capitalist absurdity. The company shut down just a few months later, proving that even the most well-funded startups can't survive if their product doesn't solve a real problem. Chapter 6. Theranos, the blood testing deception. This one's not so much a tech fail as it is a cautionary tale about ambition, deception, and the dangers of Silicon Valley hype. Theranos, founded by Elizabeth Holmes, promised to revolutionize the healthcare industry with its revolutionary blood testing technology. They claimed their device could run hundreds of tests on just a few drops of blood, disrupting the traditional lab testing market. The company's valuation soared, reaching billions of dollars, and Holmes became a media darling. But there was one major problem. The technology didn't actually work. Whistleblowers came forward, investigations were launched, and the house of cards came crashing down. Theranos was exposed as a massive fraud, and Holmes was charged with multiple counts of criminal fraud. The Theranos scandal sent shockwaves through Silicon Valley, raising questions about due diligence, corporate greed, and the cult of personality that often surrounds tech founders. Chapter 7. Facebook's Metaverse Avatars, Lost in Translation and Graphics. Mark Zuckerberg has been betting big on the Metaverse, a virtual world where we can work, play, and socialize. But the initial reception to Facebook's Metaverse avatars was less than enthusiastic. When Meta unveiled its avatars, the internet responded with a collective "seriously?" The avatars were clunky, cartoonish, and lacked the expressiveness that we've come to expect from virtual representations. They looked like something out of a 2005 video game, a far cry from the realistic and immersive experiences that Meta has been promising. The backlash was swift and, brutal. Memes flooded social media, comparing the avatars to everything from Nintendo Wii characters to budget CGI. Even Zuckerberg himself acknowledged that the avatars were a work in progress. It was a reminder that even the biggest tech companies can stumble when it comes to delivering on ambitious visions. The metaverse is still in its early stages, but this initial misstep highlighted the challenges of creating compelling virtual experiences. Chapter 8. Segway, the future of transportation that never took off. Remember the Segway? It was supposed to revolutionize personal transportation, the next big thing since sliced bread. Inventor Dean Kamen hyped it up as a world-changing invention, something that would transform cities and reduce our reliance on cars. The Segway Personal Transporter, or PT, was a two-wheeled, self-balancing electric vehicle that looked like a cross between a scooter and a chariot from the future. It used gyroscopes and sensors to maintain balance, allowing riders to effortlessly glide along sidewalks and streets. But despite the hype and initial buzz, the Segway PT never really took off. It was expensive, bulky, and frankly, a little bit awkward to ride. People felt self-conscious zipping around on a Segway, and it didn't help that you needed some practice to master the controls. The Segway became more of a novelty item, something you'd see security guards riding in malls or tourists using on guided tours, rather than a mainstream mode of transportation. Chapter 9. Windows Vista, the operating system that time forgot, for good reason. Windows Vista, the operating system that Microsoft would rather forget ever existed. It was supposed to be the successor to the wildly popular Windows XP, a sleek and modern OS that would usher in a new era of computing. But instead it became synonymous with bloatware, security vulnerabilities, and endless loading screens. Vista was plagued with performance issues, even on high-end PCs. It was notorious for its user account control prompts, which constantly interrupted users with security warnings, even for simple tasks. The new Arrow interface, while visually appealing, was a resource hog, slowing down older computers to a crawl. To make matters worse, Vista lacked driver support for many popular devices, leading to compatibility issues and frustrated users. It was a perfect storm of bad design decisions, technical shortcomings, and poor execution. Microsoft eventually acknowledged Vista's shortcomings and released Windows 7, which became a critical and commercial success. Chapter 10. Quibi, a short-form story of failure. In the world of streaming, content is king, but even the most star-studded lineup can't save a platform with a flawed premise. Quibi, a short-form streaming service, learned this the hard way. Launched in April 2020, Quibi aimed to revolutionize mobile entertainment with its bite-sized episodes designed for viewing on the go. They poured millions into producing original content, attracting big-name directors and Hollywood stars. But there was one fatal flaw in Quibi's strategy. They launched during a global pandemic, just when people were stuck at home with more time than ever to consume long-form content. The idea of watching a movie or TV show in 10-minute chunks on your phone lost its appeal when you could binge-watch entire seasons from the comfort of your couch. Despite a massive marketing campaign and a star-studded lineup, Quibi failed to gain traction. The app's download numbers were disappointing, and subscriber growth was anemic. In October 2020, just 6 months after its launch, Quibi announced that it was shutting down. It was a costly reminder that even with the best intentions, timing is everything in the tech world. Outro tech fails, lessons learned. So, there you have it, 10 tech shame fails that serve as cautionary tales for even the most successful companies. What can we learn from these fails? Even the biggest companies can stumble, but it's how they recover that truly matters. Innovation is always a gamble, and not every bet pays off. But these failures, as epic as they may be, pave the way for future successes. They remind us to stay humble, to never stop iterating, and to always listen to our users. Because at the end of the day, technology is only as good as the people it serves. Which tech fail shocked you the most? Comment below, and don't forget to subscribe for more digital disasters and success stories.